Welcome to the Integrated Scenario Explorer tutorial, or EYES, which is part of the Sustainable Pathways to Research project. This short tutorial introduces you to the scenario tool in the EYES software, and you will learn how to create an integrated scenario. Oftentimes, modelers are experts in their own field. This could be economics, health, infrastructure, and so forth. Problems are often analysed from a single discipline perspective, and experts in one discipline can be reluctant to assess the implications on other sectors outside of their expertise. EYES enables the modeler to evaluate differing effects concurrently. A council may have numerous scenarios created for different purposes throughout time and through their planning processes. EYES enables you to run the scenarios together to assess the changes in final demand and how this translates into land use. The focus is on the scenarios within EYES. When you open up EYES, a baseline scenario exists for the economy, population, for external factors such as exports and investment, and for policy measures. So we're going to go through how you make changes to these scenarios and how you integrate these different scenarios together. When you open up the EYES software, in the main window, you can find the Drivers tab, and this is where you can modify and change and create your scenarios. Within the other tutorials, I've gone through in detail how you can create a scenario and how you change that. So I'm just going to here click on the economics model. And one thing to point out that there's a sector filter button here. And in that, this will show you can click on these, which industries you want to see within the model, which will become visible to you. They're not all ticked at the moment. So we'll just tick some of these to show. I'll just tick them all so that we can change the scenario and change elements of the economic model. These will be needed to make changes to the scenario. This is interregional exports. I'll just click some of these so that they become visible when we need them. So I've turned all the different sectors on, which means that when I return into the economics model, in the economy here, all of the sectors are visible. When you get the model first, these will not all be turned on. Okay, so assuming that you have some knowledge of how the model works, I'm going to create a sub-scenario. I'm going to assume that there's a new runway being built, and this is going to increase tourism in the region. It's also going to have a construction effect, and it's going to affect the businesses that are operating. So I'm just going to increase the values from the baseline. Again, I'm just doing this manually and in quite an arbitrary way, but there's more information that will go into this. This is just for illustrative purposes. Then I can choose maybe construction. There'll be construction effects, possibly not in international exports. It'll be investment in construction. So I'll go to gross fixed capital formation, click on construction, marginal effect increase. Okay, so you make your changes accordingly and then you save it as a sub-scenario. You can make other changes as well, and we click on this, save a sub-scenario. So we're going to save it in a new sub-scenario, and we'll call it airport expansion. Okay. Then we can go into policy, we can assume that load a sub-scenario, we can assume that this will have a zoning effect, that the land is going to be zoned for an airport. So we make the changes in here as well, and we also load the sub-scenario and save it. So we'll save it in a new sub-scenario and we'll call it Airport Zone 2. Okay. So we can make these changes to the economics. If it was a scenario that the demography was going to change, we could also make changes here and save that. It's a sub-scenario. They're indicators, they don't change. Then we go into our Scenarios tab here, and we're going to create a new. So we're going to call it it's an integrated scenario. So we're going to have the elements of the different model components that we've changed and include them here. So we're going to call it Airport Expansion. And then here we should be able to see the changes that we've made in the economy sub-scenario. The airport expansion is here. External factors will keep the baseline. We haven't changed the population sub-scenario. We've got baseline for policy measures, and again you can load different scenarios here and change them. We had a zoning change. We'll run the airport zone. Also infrastructure sub-scenario, we can change that as well. We haven't done it here. We click OK. Okay, we need a baseline here and a baseline. So this is our Manage Sub-Scenario tool here. And we can control what goes into it here as well. This is our airport expansion that we're on at the moment. Okay. And again, we can run the model now. We can go to reset, always reset before you run it. We've got the integrated scenario airport expansion up here. This will take just a couple of minutes to reset. We're at 71% here. So once that has reset, we can save the scenario, save the project, airport expansion. You can either save it as an active integrated scenario or as a new integrated scenario. Again, this is so you can have one integrated scenario and change subcomponents of it again. Let's save sub scenario. And you run the model. Again, you can options, you can write to Excel, you can log your maps. Let's see, we'll do airport. We want to see economic consumption, economic demand, etc., etc. Which indicators you want to write. Again, we can generate. Let's do it every 5 years again. Our output start in 2007 out to 2051, reporting every 5 years. Okay, that's the years that it will report on. Then we start writing, and we run the model. And that is how you manage, this will run through year by year, that is how you manage your integrated scenario within the EYES model.